Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another historic edition of the Third and Long podcast, the Wildcard Monday review edition of the Third and Long podcast. I am, of course, Nutrileague's second biggest export, Shane Harris. Above me is the beautiful man himself, Mr. Fine Wine, Oliver Butler Henderson. To my right, the teacher extraordinaire, young blood himself, Mr. Philip Perrins. And in the top corner, last but never, ever least, my old buddy, Baby Hope. Gentlemen, how are we feeling after a, well, in all honesty, surprising weekend?
What a day. We have the Rams eliminated, the Cowboys eliminated, and the Seahawks don't have a coach. I mean, what could be better? In the words of my friend, Mr. Perrins, who has it better than us?
Nobody!
Oh, God. Are you going on holiday soon? Can you go on holiday soon?
I'll tell you what, I'll go on holiday after we pluck the Lombardi out of your hands.
Don't be daft.
Me, you'll never know.
The quest for six is ending soon.
And then it'll be the
I was thinking, Mr. OBH, how's it going? You all right?
Incredibly tired. They don't suit us, the NFL, do they, this time wise?
No.
They could at least make it a bit more UK friendly for us. I mean, we do it so they got 4 games when they come over here. So they could at least do it a little bit earlier for us.
I mean,
cut this late night nonsense out. They
are next Sunday.
As I said, it's just a case of it's not on. It's not on. It's like, I'll give you an example now. The early game yesterday, I say early, half 9, was the wait a minute. Packers and Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And after that, the game of the weekend, which everybody and their mother wanted to see, was the Rams and the Lions. 1:15 in the morning kickoff. Come on, Roger Goodell, throw us a bone at some point.
It's I get it's their prime time and all that, but please help us. My body can't take it, especially this time of year.
I mean, let's just enjoy what we've got, because we've got 3 weeks of proper football left. So I'm not counting the Pro Bowl flag football bonanza thing that they try and make like it matters. But yeah, I'm not sure how Ollie feels, but I'm not sure. Shane and Philly, actually, looking forward to watching proper teams play next week.
Yes, me too. I actually cannot wait for our games. I'm with like Hendo at the moment. Like, so yesterday, for those who don't know, is I play football now on the weekends, and I played 2 90-minute games yesterday. I played one at 1 o'clock at Kempston, and then I played another one at Cranfield Pavilion at 7:30, and I played I was knackered. But again, even though I'm a goalkeeper as well, I'm not like exactly jumping around, but like I kept 1 clean sheet against Luton. And then I conceded 1 in later on in the evening. But yeah, I was absolutely battered. So like by the time I got into bed, I literally didn't even watch the highlights until this morning. And even then, I dragged my sorry ass into school and was watching the highlights on the big screen just before the kids came in. So I'm absolutely battered. So it would be actually quite nice to watch the 49ers play on a Saturday.
It's 1 a.m. on Sunday, yeah?
Is it Sunday?
It's 1 a.m. Sunday morning.
It's fine.
We're prime time.
Oh, it's fine. We'll stay up. I mean, you are going to put the prime time game on for the best team in the NFL, aren't you?
I mean, at least we know what our game is.
Yeah, that's true. We can prepare for the Packers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're saying that now. We shall move on to the Texans and the Browns very shortly. But basically, how it breaks down for my beloved Baltimore Ravens is tonight's game between the Steelers and the Bills. If the Bills win, we play the Texans at 8:30 this coming Saturday night, which would be absolutely perfect for yours truly, because I can start drinking earlier. And then if we don't, if the Steelers beat the Bills, we play the Steelers on Sunday at 11:30 in the evening, pretty much midnight. So yeah, obviously you can see which game I'm pulling for, which team I'll be pulling for in the snow.
Yeah, I don't think you need to worry about that. The Steelers, it's the Steelers without TJ Watt. So
Worcester Royals could probably beat them.
Rudolph the Pick Six.
Oh, don't say things like that, mate.
Rudolph the Pick Six Reindeer starting.
Yeah.
against a proper team, and it's in the snow, which Buffalo excel in, and it's not going to be close. But we'll get to
Although have you seen the picture that's been put on ESPN about 5 minutes before we went on air of literally waist deep Steelers fans walking around the stadium in snow. The pitch is perfect. The pitch looks absolutely perfect, but the seating, I would not want to be stuck there. I would be rather sit in KC in -7 degrees than sitting in cold, wet snow.
It's not playoff football without a couple of snow games.
Oh, no, of course not.
I do have a thought. So, considering we end the show roughly about 9:30, well, Baby Hope is pushing for 9:30 finish tonight. Does that make us the pre-game show for the Bills and the Steelers?
I think it does.
Fantastic. I've always wanted to be on a free-for-all.
Yeah, I would say that. So if I would love to have Freddie on this show, being that he's a Steelers fan. If you're watching,
I don't like him. I don't want him on here. I don't want him on here. We don't associate with Riff Raff like that.
I mean,
Do you want to start? Go on.
I kind of want the Steelers to win, just so we can all watch them dump you out the playoffs next week.
No.
Well, like Green Bay are going to do to you.
Oh, please.
No, look at the record books when the last 2 times we played Green Bay in the playoffs.
Yeah, but Dallas haven't lost a game at home for 2 years. Look what happened.
Yeah, but they're Dallas.
Can I address something?
You all know what's going to happen to Dallas in the playoffs. It's like
it is like clockwork, yeah.
Why does it look like your top's a brown top?
Well, mine.
It looks like a Browns top, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But the lighting, yeah, I got that. But the lighting and the colour makes it look even brown.
I might do a spotlight.
DHgate's finest, isn't
it?
So do you want to move on to the first game of the weekend then? The Cleveland Browns traveled to Houston to play CJ Stroud and the Texans. Yeah, gentlemen, your thoughts on this game?
Round of applause for January Joe.
Oh, God, Joe, I love you. Don't ever change.
January Joe's going to be carving up the Texans' offense. The only thing he carved up was Brown's chances this year.
I love you, Joe. Don't ever change. Special Agent Flacco.
He threw for more interceptions than he did touchdowns. He had a passer rating of 80.6 compared to CJ Stroud, almost perfect, 157.2.
He's 39 tomorrow, mind.
I mean, it's massively. It's massively. Oh, I don't even know how to really properly describe it, but the Browns limped towards the end of the season, and a lot of their performances weren't. Well, a lot of the performances weren't great from the offensive point of view, purely because of how many interceptions Flacco was throwing in games. And I think coming into this, the Texans, I think I even said the Texans for like my predictions, purely because I didn't rate Flacco not turning the ball over. I mean, you know, I think the Browns were hoping that he'd put in the same performance, that same fluke performance that he put in the Super Bowl many, many moons ago. But he just wasn't good. He wasn't good. The Browns' offense wasn't very good. And actually, this elite defense that they've been piping on about all season were non-existent because they put 45 points against a rookie coach, a rookie quarterback, a rookie wide receiver, and they absolutely carved them up.
I'll tell you what, Shane, we've got a little comment from Roy here saying, has Shane shown up his shirt yet?
Yeah, see? Kings of the North, baby. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. Fanatics finest. Ordered in New Year's Day. It took 2 weeks to come. Cheers, Big Jerk.
To be fair, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for Fanatics.
Yeah,
I like it.
Next year.
Maybe see you in work tomorrow as well.
Yeah, 2 weeks is pretty good for Fanatics.
You know what impressed me more than anything else the whole weekend? We've had some really good performances this weekend. Was how calm and like he took a duck to water, and like he's been doing this for years. It looked like Peyton Manning had been reborn in a Texan shirt. CJ Stroud looked like he'd be comfortable as anything doing this. He looked incredible.
Surely the narrative in the AFC for many years to come now has to be CJ Mahomes. Like when they play each other, that's. I mean, we've been literally looking about like Joe Burrows, Josh Allen, Lamar, But like Stroud, I mean, the AFC is going to be stacked for quarterbacks for many, many years to come in terms of like high elite. Whilst the NFC really only have Brock Purdy, the AFC has some amazing players, and CJ Stroud is nothing short of but phenomenal this year because he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, but don't be surprised next year if he actually wins Offensive Player or MVP. Like he's got to be.
I don't think CJ Stroud will win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
You don't think?
No, because they don't usually give Rookie of the Year and Offensive Rookie of the Year to the same player. So I think they will just win the Rookie of the Year and they'll give it to like.
Puka will win one and CJ Stroud will win the other one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, we'll get onto that when we get onto that.
You play with your cat?
Yeah. Sorry. My cat's literally.
What is doing?
Up. I was gonna pick her up, but she just started scurrying away. She'll happily tell me. Hold on, I'll pick her up.
It's like that scene in the BFG where a big hand comes down and picks the kids up. Phil's got giant hands.
I mean, there was some. Nico Collins was superb the other day. He was always finding him safe. He's their safety Collins. But what impressed me was two very different halves. The first half was an absolute shootout, both teams. Explosive play after explosive play. And then the second half, it went, right, Texans, we are shutting you down. The Browns didn't score a point in the second half. They went at 10 points on halftime. They didn't score a point in the second half. Davis Mills came in and finished the game off.
I know.
It's like simply disrespectful that you're bringing your second string in the playoffs.
Well, as the international sign of we'd Amadou.
Very, very, very much so. I would be a bit worried whoever going to be hosting Texans next because I think they could cause another upset.
I'm not worried. They're good, but they're not great. We are great.
You reckon Baltimore?
I think it is.
It could still be Pittsburgh. It could still be Pittsburgh could still go to Baltimore. Yeah.
Come to the bank, CJ Stroud. Come on,
Buffalo win tonight, then we get to watch CJ Stroud carve off the Ravens defense on Saturday.
Sometimes I just don't believe half the words that come out of your mouth sometimes.
Ollie,
I'm sure you say it just for shock.
Ollie, what did you say in the group chat after the Dolphins game?
I might have said that I'm starting to move towards your viewpoint. A certain left-handed quarterback from Hawaii. However,
mine is my thing.
I don't think it's fair to judge Tua on that performance. The kid's from Hawaii and plays in Miami and was playing in minus 20 degrees centigrade temperatures.
He played for Alabama.
It's not that cold
in Alabama. It's not minus 20, but it still gets cold in Alabama.
It's not that cold in Alabama. And also, they finished their proxy little season in December. It doesn't get proper cold till January.
The issue is, right, Tua can do a job in Miami. He can. But you've really got to work out where his limitations are. Miami are good fun to watch, with Tyreek, with HA, with Mostert, with Waddle. They are good fun to watch. Mike McDaniels brings us some brilliant schemes. But Tua's not going to take them all the way through. You put Patrick Mahomes in that offense, and Miami goes 17-0.
I mean, I think we do need to look at Mike McDaniels to a point because twice now they've been like 10-3 and not really converted to either time and not won the division when really. I know last year was I know you can say they've been played with injuries both years, and last year, Tua was injured, but this year, they've lost defensive players, but they still should be able to win the division from a 10-3 place.
Agreed. I you've got to find a way, now to go, right, okay, we've got to do something. It's almost like, when you're in football, you get the magic safety part for relegations, 40 points. Yes, we got to 40, and then teams start to relax and don't play as well, and they relax. This is almost like them. 10 wins, brilliant. Like I said, it's the plus 9 times out of 10. We're not playing as well. And Phil, you said a lot about momentum.
Yeah.
Momentum is a massive thing in football. They lost 2 of the last 3 games of the regular season.
Yeah.
And then they don't turn up in Kansas in, admittedly, extreme conditions.
Stupidly cold weather. Listen, I like a Miami to, as Phil would know, would get the reference, an upper mid-card team. And they beat all the lower teams that are not good enough. They have 6 losses this year, right? Tell me if these are good or bad teams or not. Buffalo, Philadelphia, Kansas City,
good team.
Tennessee, but that was a fluke. Baltimore, Buffalo, and then losing to KC again.
Well, at least 4 of those good teams. Exactly,
yeah. They're not going to reach the top, but maybe Mr. OBH is on to something with Tua. If they had an elite quarterback there, maybe things would be different.
I do think we need to look at Kansas City as playing well rather than Miami playing badly, because Rashee Rice had an absolute game.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes looked like how he's been looking like he has for the past couple of seasons rather than how he has this season. Travis Kelce, although he did drop a few balls, he had a good game. So, and Harrison Butker, he is probably the most reliable kicker in the league at the moment.
He was slipping and still make it. Right, with the catches, I'm going to let players off with the catches. Like tonight, it's going to be bloody cold in Buffalo tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Your hands don't react the same. And you can see the one, it's like Travis Kelce looked at his hands and it was like, what the hell? They were in my hands. And it's almost like, I'm going to catch. Oh, no, I've let him go. I mean, I don't know how cold the coldest temperature you played. We started playing in March, trained in January, and the ball hits your hands, and it's like, that stings. Even when you got gloves on, it stings.
I've played in ice.
Yeah.
I mean, never playing football, but playing like soccer and stuff. If you go down in the snow, it hurts.
Oh yeah.
Go down on ice or go down on snow, it hurts.
Especially when you got like a 250-pound linebacker running at you,
Yeah, I've never had that. Like I said, never played football, but playing soccer, things like that. Going down on ice and snow hurts a lot more than just going down on grass.
I mean, you would have played rugby at school, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's like that. The one thing is, though, like, you got the likes of Pacheco who runs at the ground, run like he's angry at the ground, really annoyed. He's literally stomping. He's like, brr! But they weren't body tackles. They were trying to tackle them with the hands, and they were going. And it was like swatting flies away. He was missed until you actually got a big body in there to hit it and stop it. You're not going to stop the run, and that's what they did. They racked up 147 yards running. It was never going to be a pretty game. It was never going to be the best game we've ever seen because of the conditions weren't going to allow that. Kansas do have a massive advantage because they are used to playing January football in that stadium. Yes.
You can't arm tackle Pacheco at the best of times, let alone in these temperatures.
True.
So,
Chiefs have got Dolphins number now.
I mean, I'm not going to go into hip drop tackles because time and place, but Miami missed a lot of tackles, like a lot of tackles. It was like watching San Francisco's defense. But yeah, I think San Francisco and Miami need to have some tackling practice in them, and potentially a new defensive coordinator for the Lions because Wilkes is going.
Steve Wilkes is going somewhere else, isn't he, by the looks of it?
Again,
I was going to say something and I can't remember what it was now.
I'm sure it's really insightful.
Probably. I'm that good. But
I mean, you're just that old and wise.
Yes, mate. Very old, very wise. No jokes, please. Can Can anyone stop Kansas? They like January 4.
Yes. Yes, I do think.
Yeah,
next
100%.
week. Buffalo
But yeah.
next
Yeah.
week.
I think Buffalo, Houston, Baltimore, they're all more than capable of stopping Kansas. Kansas are not the Kansas of previous seasons. They're not even remotely close to how they were last season when they won the Super Bowl. Yes, their record is very good. Yes, they still top their division, but their division was rubbish to begin with. I don't think Kansas are all that. I'm really sorry, I don't. Miami played bad, and we can talk about Tua in the offseason, whether or not McDaniels has to make his first proper big call as a head coach and look to replace him. But Kansas are an aging side. Like, they're not top of their game. I mean, yes, you've got Mahomes is still in prime, but you've got other players, i.e. Kelsey, and they've got areas where they haven't developed, like their offensive line and their wide receiving core. And you find as the season goes on, and I know this having played it, as the season goes on, and especially when you get deep into the playoffs, when you don't have a bye week, your team is essentially as strong as your line, i.e. how well your offensive line is still holding up and how well your defensive line is putting pressure. And Kansas, and they're not the only ones in this instance, Kansas aren't particularly stacked on either front at the moment.
If you look at Miami's defense compared to the other defenses left of Buffalo, Baltimore, and Houston, they're a league above. If you can take Kelsey out of the equation and you can take Rice out of the equation, then they don't have anything else behind that. Valdez-Scantling, poor. Sky Moore, poor. Kadarius Toney, always injured.
Kadarius Toney was a healthy scratch this weekend.
Justin Watson, poor.
Kadarius Toney was injured this weekend.
Disagree with Justin Watson and Noah Gray.
Yeah, I like Noah Gray and Justin Watson, but they're not.
Yeah, but they're not elite receivers. For a team like Kansas City, they need to have elite receivers. With at least 2 or 3 to be one of the best teams in the NFL. And as Phil said, and I will echo his sentiment, the fact that they're not the Kansas City of old. They're not. I think they need to give it up. The fact that they're not what they were. They had a little dynasty. It's over now.
And I think they will rebuild, but they're not going to be favorites by any. I mean, I say this now. I bet they go on and win the Super Bowl. But I don't think that they're a couple of years away from that rebuild. Because don't forget, they won the Super Bowl. Then they went back a year after. They lost to Brady, and then they didn't even get to the Super Bowl the year after. And they've had an up and down season this season. I mean, they haven't played well. Even the games where they've won, they haven't dominated. They haven't blown teams away. Yes, they destroyed the Dolphins, but the Dolphins were just as equally as bad as Kansas were good.
Do you know what Kansas remind me of? That year the years when Brady didn't have that true number one. He had Julian Edmonds, and then he had playoff Danny. He had Chris Hogan, or he had James White. He never had that out elite wide receiver. He had a group of good wide receivers, and there is the beginnings of a good group here with Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, Noah Gray. Yes, Noah Gray is a tight end, but there's a group of good enough wide receivers in there that could take you so distance. They're starting to look like a New England when they're in the height of in the middle of their dynasty, where they didn't have these elite wide receivers. They just started to build a good defense, and that's what Kansas is starting to do. Especially
but you're talking like 2013, 2014 when this was up. The league's changed a lot in 10 years to a much more passing heavy offense. So I think you needed that elite receiver now.
Yeah. I think you need at least 3. 1 elite and then 2 exceptionally good ones.
Yeah. Agreed on that one.
Do you want to move on to perhaps the biggest shock of the weekend? The fact that
Michael Parsons still got a job.
I was going to say the fact that Aaron Jones owns them Cowboys.
Sorry, hold on. Sorry, can I just add? We say shock, but I predicted this.
Yeah,
you were the only one. You were the only one that did.
Yeah,
you did.
I saw momentum again. I've said this lots of times before, and Hendo alluded it to the beginning. The Packers ended the season exceptionally strong, whilst the Cowboys, they had their high when they beat the Eagles, yay! But like that was off of the back of the 49ers embarrassing them to begin with. And the Cowboys kind of limped towards the end. Yes, they picked up victories, but they weren't convincing. They haven't really been convincing all year. And they're essentially what you said earlier about like the Dallas Cowboys in this current incarnation. They're just upper mid guys who are just big bullies and will beat up the smaller teams because they can just flex harder. But as soon as you come across anybody that is equal footing or a bigger side than them or a bigger dog, Cowboys crumble. And Packers just wanted it from the kickoff. As soon as the Packers scored the first goal on their as soon as they scored on their first possession, I knew Dallas were not going to come back because Dak is a permanent bottler. He bottles it. You said about how you feel about Tua is actually now in hindsight how I feel about Dak. I've seen Dak mostly from a 49ers eyes point of view in the playoffs in the last previous seasons where he has had the chance to lead an elite team of players that are built around him. Okay, he doesn't have scrubs. He's got elite players around him, and he has been piped all season as an MVP contender. Well, he's not, but he full on bottled it more so than he has done in the 49ers previously. Yeah,
as Nick said, Cowboys collapse is a January tradition. Beautiful to behold.
Yeah, Cowboys
is pretty much.
Yeah. And I think Jerry Jones is going to die knowing that he has spent nearly tens of billions since 1995 to get the Cowboys 6, and he's never going to get anywhere close. This was probably the best chance they've had, and they floundered it. And a young Packers team that had a ton of momentum. Jordan Love, oh my God. I thought the 49ers under Bill Walsh were amazing in terms of picking a quarterback to replace a Hall of Fame quarterback. The Packers model needs to be studied. Having Brett Favre and then drafting a late round pick like Aaron Rodgers, sitting him for a couple of years. Sitting him for a couple of years, burning the fire from Brett Favre going, well, I'm not going to let you replace me this way. And Aaron Rodgers getting a little bit of grit going, well, I'm going to take your job, blah, blah, blah. That happens. Years later, the exact same situation happens with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. Now, I'm not a Packers fan. I'm a 49ers fan. But Jesus Christ, Jordan Love has really impressed me since their bye week. Since they've really kicked into gear, he has been exceptional. And I think he was the standout for me.
As Nick said, Bart Starr before Brett Favre.
Yeah, he's right. It's not only that, Jordan Love's been impressive, but this young offensive weapons here, Romeo Dobbs, second year, Dontavian Wicks, first year, Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrove, they're first year tight end. Bo Melton has come out of nowhere as a first year. Christian Watson, second year. Jaden Reed, a first year. This young offense is all going to be in their rookie contracts for the next 3 or 4 years. Jordan Love's still got a couple of years left on his rookie contract. You can go, right, let's go and get a really good O-line going into this. And let's not forget, Aaron Jones is only in his 7th year and looks brilliant. Admittedly, he likes playing in Texas.
You were criticising Aaron Jones last week.
He was, literally was.
I was, admittedly, but I watched him last night. He was brilliant last night. Absolutely brilliant, but he likes playing in Texas. That's his 12th touchdown against teams in Texas last night.
Well,
he is a Texas boy.
10th, 11th, 12th, or 12th, 13th, 14th?
10th, 11th, 12th.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He likes Texas. He's a Texas boy.
As much as I hate to coin the phrase pipe the Packers off, like I said, I think none of us saw the Cowboys getting dismantled that badly last night. But I have been saying since the beginning of the season, I don't see it with them. I just didn't. You know, and like Phil again alluded to, the Niners took them apart. They beat the Eagles, but the Eagles have not been at the races this season as well. Wouldn't surprise me if they lose tonight, but we'll move on to that very shortly. Yeah, I just think I will be very surprised if Mike McCarthy's got a job in the morning.
I'm surprised he's not gone already.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not sure. I can't speak for Packers fans, but I think the victory was made a little sweeter by the fact it probably has cost Mike McCarthy his job.
Yeah.
So my cousin's a Packers fan, right? He messaged me I messaged him last night. Goes, you guys must be internally combusting it. He goes, I thought we'd be competitive, but not that competitive. And the fact that we've got Clifford in the playoff game is unbelievable. And okay, I've gone to. You've got McAfee sacked. I think he is. Yeah, that'll be a whole new coaching team coming in. Jerry Jones looks fuming. Yeah. Jerry Jones doesn't make massive amounts of coaching change. He's stuck with that ginger twat for God knows how long. I can't think of his name.
Jason Garrett.
That's the guy. Thank you very much. I had something in. I had Garrett in my head, but I just had the bloody pass rush in my head for far longer than he should have done. The thing about Jerry Jones, he does not like being embarrassed on national TV.
Yeah,
and he wasn't just embarrassed; he was right royally humiliated by that fence. Right, really humiliated. Ollie.
So I've got a question for all three of you.
Yeah.
Do you think that performance affects Dan Quinn's ability, not ability, but chance of getting a head coaching job next season?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Atlanta Falcons blowing a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl has blown Dan Quinn's chance of getting another head coaching job.
I don't know, because there's so many teams in the NFL now that don't have coaches and also don't have expectations. The likes of, I know there's a new dawn in Washington with new ownership and things, but no one's going to hit the ground running. I think you still get a job in something like Carolina or maybe again Washington.
Why when the greatest coach of all time is out there? And not looking
because Bill has got his pick. Bill can do what he likes. Bill's got his pick. Do you think he's going to go to Washington to go to the Chargers? We know that. Yeah.
No,
he's never going to go to a small-time team and struggle in his formative years. He wants to keep the success rolling. He's had nothing for. When's the last time he won a Super Bowl?
Pre-Brady.
In New England.
Yeah.
2018, 2019.
Exactly.
Yeah, you want to call it? What season you want to call it? 2018, 2019 season? In the
he had nothing for a few years, and we all know that probably sticks in Bill's craw. He can't stand it. Mm-hmm. He's going to go to a team that's pretty much ready-made, like the Chargers.
You need a defensive guru. Yeah, I get that.
It looks like Ben Johnson's going to end up in Washington. That looks likely, because apparently Evan Peters wants him.
Interesting.
So that sort of Dan Quinn's not going to go back to Atlanta because that just wouldn't make sense. So does that leaves like Carolina maybe is like the only team that maybe.
Seattle. He also leaves the silver and black.
No,
that's Antonio Pierce. The longer that it goes on, the more I know it's going to be Antonio Pierce.
Have you seen just what I'm talking about this? Have you seen Max Crosby says he's going to concentrate that they don't have?
Yeah.
Which case they got to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and he is. I mean, unless Mark Davis is thinking of money he will save and the draft capital he could get in return, I don't see Max Crosby being traded away. Like, no. I don't. Like, how Crosby is to the Raiders is how Nick Bosa was last season for the 49ers. Like
Aaron Donald is to the Rams.
Yeah, you know what? That's even better. Yeah, how Aaron Donald is, because like as much as I love Bosa, he's not necessarily a leader, but Aaron Donald is a leader and he is exceptional in every single way. And I think Max Crosby ticks that. He's a leader. He's inspirational. He's the only player in the NFL, white guy in the NFL, that can get away with using the N-word, and his teammates love him for it. Like we've seen him on like a couple of videos where he's said the N-word, like when he was rapping, and when he nearly dropped the N-word. Do you remember like a couple of months ago now when he went to say it that he stopped himself from saying it.
That was on Amazon, wasn't it?
Yeah, that is literally what Max Crosby is. So if they want to throw that all away, anyway, I don't want to go off track because I got moaned at off air for going off track.
No one whoa! We didn't moan at you.
Anyway, Max Crosby is, and I think the Raiders are set. I think the Raiders are going to have a young defensive team, a la the model that's going on in Houston. I can honestly see the Raiders going that way for the next 2-3 years.
I think it's impressive that in a week that the Raiders didn't even play, Phil still managed to get onto the Raiders.
You brought it up. I didn't say anything you said.
I brought it up because basically I knew as soon as I put that little crumb out there, he would be right on the end of the rod, and I pulled him straight in.
I would just one day in my lifetime, I'm 33 now. I plan on living until at least I'm in my mid-90s. I would love to see a Super Bowl where the 49ers take on the Raiders. Okay, that's all I want. That's all I want. Just
2067. There's robots on the field.
Oh my, you know what? I'd love that as well. Perfect. I can't wait till we start drafting players like it is an iRobot.
We already have Bob Purdy, so
yeah, we do have Bob
Purdy.
Right.
Yeah, keep your robot puns coming, ladies and gentlemen. Answers on a postcard.
Let's roll over to Jared Goff's redemption game.
Oh my God, what a baller!
what a game.
Yeah, what a first half. The second half was a very good defensive game, but the first half was outstanding. It was an outstanding game. Jared Goff to Reynolds, the old Lions connect, or the old Rams connection was on fire. They had a point to prove, both of those guys. They were superb, absolutely superb.
Montgomery, though, he played well.
14 carries for 57 yards. He also had a reception for 11 yards as well. Say again, sorry?
And a touchdown.
Yeah. Well, Jared Goff, yes, only threw for one touchdown, but he had 121.8 passer rating, which is pretty goddamn good in playoff. And the reception he got into the changing room when he came back was well and truly worth it.
The biggest shame about this game is the fact that we're not going to see Puka Nacua now until September.
There's never
fantastic 9 receptions.
I literally
100 yards and touchdown again.
There is no shame of the Rams getting knocked out in the playoffs. Same with the Cowboys. Nothing bad about that.
Yeah, but take your Niners blinders off for 5 seconds and be an impartial broadcast journalist, much like myself, Mr. OBH.
Says the man who's wearing KFC North.
It's not KFC North, but it will be when I get some gravy on it.
I am going to agree. I mean, I've seen Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams in the flesh. They are something else. These, again, I talked about how good the young offense is in Green Bay. These two are something else. Mm-hmm. They're even better in the flesh. I mean, Puka Nacua is ridiculously good. Ridiculously good, because then he got passed up by 31 other teams. And LA Rams took a punt on him because Sean McVay says he really likes him. He likes the dog in him. He's shown it. 181 yards, as Shano said last night. Absolutely brilliant.
He broke DK Metcalf's record for the most reception yards in a playoff game by a rookie.
He's ridiculously good. But, Matt Stafford is
said last week that he wouldn't want to face January in the playoffs. Yes,
well, guess what? Now we don't have to.
Matt Stafford is a baller. He will leave every little bit of him on that field and not give up. And he did that again yesterday. He got literally put in concussion protocol without being in concussion protocol last night as well. He had his shoulder pretty much stood on. And yet he still got up and carried on throwing that rock like it was a Sunday afternoon with his kids. It was ridiculously good. I didn't like the reception that he got when he came into the stadium there by Detroit Lions. I think that's pretty poor, considering, yes, he never got you to the chosen land. Just remember, it wasn't his choice to be traded.
It was.
Yeah.
It wasn't. LA Rams came to Detroit and said, we want him. Sean McVay used his friendly prowess and gone, come on then. That's what it was.
Yeah,
LA Rams requested it. He didn't have to go to LA. He could have stayed there. But his trade got you Jared Goff. It got you Amon-Ra St. Brown. It got you Sam Laporta. It got you Gibbs. Look at it that way.
I think that's a good deal.
Do we want to talk about the missed pass interference call on the Rams last drive?
So what the very slight tug, which was the same in the Super Bowl last year, which was given but that wasn't given.
It was PI. There should have been a flag. Kelly's just put in, there was too much said about the game on the Stafford situation, built it up more than needed to be. He's still a Lions legend regardless. Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, he's done so much. He's the Lions' leading passer, leading touchdown. Most of the stats that are led by a quarterback is Matt Stafford's name in Detroit.
Stat Padford.
Start Padford.
Yeah, you're only saying that because you got your Niners hat on.
No. Let's be honest. The only reason why his stats look amazing is, again, if you look at like NFL records and if you look at NFL stats, top tier quarterbacks who were drafted high are often drafted by poor teams, and either a lot of those quarterbacks do get burned out and thrown out the leagues because they don't have necessarily the surrounding around them to kind of like help them develop them and make the team better. But like what Matt Stafford had is for many, many, many years, he was on an exceptionally poor Lions team. Okay, I'm not saying he is the reason, but he was on a very, very poor Lions team. Now, him having an amazing arm, if you look at like his interception record, if you look at his completion record, and not just like his passing records, a lot of those were just yeets down the field and hopefully Megatron is free. So I think a lot of his amazing records go on Megatron. I'm not saying, Stafford still has to throw the ball, but if you look at his completion in Detroit, you look at his touchdown to interception record in Detroit, and you look at like who he passed to the most in Detroit in that heyday, there's a reason why Megatron was like going, you know what, I'm done. I'm out of the league. I'm done, because he's got Matt Stafford just throwing yeet bombs at him. And he's doing all the running for him. He's dragging that team through. I'm just sorry. That's just how I feel. I'm not saying Stafford isn't a great quarterback, but so much of his stats are padded because he's been in poor teams and he's just thrown it down the field just to see what sticks. I'm sorry.
Isn't that what Tony Romo did with Des Bryant?
Yeah, 100%. And I didn't rate Tony Romo either.
Ollie.
Just going back to what we were talking about with the pass interference call that should have been called. It was the same in the Super Bowl last year, but the difference is it got called. And if it didn't, people would still be talking about it now because it was missed. But it wasn't missed. But I'm just saying that this should have been called, which could have made the result of the game very different. So if Lions hadn't agreed about what happened a couple of weeks ago, it sort of evened itself out today, right? Yesterday, right?
Say again, sorry, mate. I didn't catch
that.
Yeah, I didn't catch the end of that, mate. Sorry.
If you look at what happened a couple of weeks ago with the whole eligibility thing,
yeah.
Do you not think it equaled out with this missed pass interference call? Or?
Completely.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Swings and roundabouts.
What made me laugh, though, that Aidan Hutchinson said we wanted Detroit. Not Detroit, sorry, Dallas again.
Although it will be the first time in franchise history Detroit have actually hosted 2 playoff games in the same season. So good luck to them. And let's see you in Santa Clara.
We'll have Dan Campbell on the show.
Yeah, let's see you in Santa Clara in a couple of weeks and see how they hold up there.
I was about to say, take your hat off, or put your Niners hat on for a minute. Who would you rather not play in the divisional if you both get in the conference? If you both get there,
honestly, I think we can beat anyone still in the NFC. I honestly don't care. Bring anyone to Santa Clara, and I think we'll stuff them.
I think the only tricky team is who we're going to be playing next week. I don't fear the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles are actually going to win tonight either. I don't feel Tampa. I don't really feel Detroit. Who else is left in the NFC?
That's it.
That's it. I genuinely, hand on heart, the only team that I'm worried about playing might be the Packers, and that's purely because momentum. We ended the season, kind of like limping and a loss. We haven't played for 2 weeks. The Packers have, ended the season strong. They destroyed Dallas. We'll say it how it is. I think them coming to Santa Clara. Santa Clara is not like Cowboys Stadium. It's not intimidating. It's a tourist venture. We've got incredibly great fans.
Ugliest stadium in the NFL.
Well, yeah, it's not an intimidating.
It is.
It's not like
I'm
Candlestick.
just saying that.
It's not like Seattle. It's not like Kansas. Hell, it's not even like Philly. It's a very open stadium. It's very friendly. So we don't even have that intimidation factor. So I think, Green Bay is the only team I would fear. I mean, when we get to the Super Bowl, I think even then the Ravens are the only team I fear.
The two teams I feared most in the NFC
Oh, go on.
that I was like, I don't want to play, both got knocked out. Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Guys, I said in the group chat, the Niners have got a clear path to the Super Bowl now. I don't think anybody can beat them until they get there. And I said it, and Mr. OBH was disagreeing with me, as he so often does. But I think the Niners all the way now. They represent the NFC in the Super Bowl 100%.
We just need to make sure we're not as complacent, because I think that is part of what let Dallas down. They thought they thought the Bucs would be a pushover.
Yeah.
January football is different football. Very different football.
Should we move on to tonight's games?
Yeah.
I think so.
One that starts in
Wait a
about
minute, whoa. Wait a minute. Are you going to ask me who I think will stop the Ravens in the AFC?
the Texans next week.
Don't be daft. They're there. No, sorry, they're good. They're not great. It's one side I am.
Okay,
Yeah, Buffalo is one team I'm scared of in the AFC bracket, and that's Buffalo. I think they'll turn up tonight. They'll give the Steelers an hiding, and their confidence and momentum will be rolling to play KC, and I think they'll beat KC too.
Into tonight's game, Buffalo is -7 at the moment. The crowd are literally waist up deep in snow.
I've just got it. I've got -8 right now, so not that there's much of a difference, but I've got it up now. Highmark Stadium -8. So
Highmark Stadium. Had it ping up on the BBC.
Yeah.
And Steelers fans, idiots, but they lovable idiots.
Yeah, there's still people without shirts on. I really don't get that. There's people in Kansas without shirts on. It's like, put it on you.
So that.
I reckon there'll be snowballs thrown tonight at one point.
Always
into the stadium.
Shane, being that you're an AFC North guy and is one of your rivals, is there any way Pittsburgh can beat Buffalo?
They've beaten us twice this season, and we are not just me being biased, but for all intents and purposes, the best team in the NFL. They've beaten us twice, so they're capable of springing an upset. I don't see it tonight. I really don't. As I said, I think the Bills are riding a wave of momentum at the moment. I think Josh Allen is finally turning into Josh Allen, the Madden cover star that he is. Maybe we'll get away with a season without the Madden curse rearing its ugly head. James Cook, as we all know, we're all a big fan of James Cook on the show. He is brilliant. I'm a big Stephon Diggs fan. He hasn't turned up a lot this season, but I think this is a game where he could have to score at least 2. Gabe Davis is there as well. And I just think,
Gabe Davis is injured.
He's out, is he? Okay, in which case I apologize. I don't think their defense is as good as it could be. I'm pretty sure Mason Rudolph will throw a bomb to Pickens or Deontay Johnson, and they'll score one at least. Because Matt Milano's out. They've been out for most of the season. But I think the Bills are too strong.
So inactive tonight for Pittsburgh is TJ, Mitch Trubisky, the safety Elijah Riley, Darius Rush, and DeMarvin Leal. Sorry, inactives for Buffalo is Terrell Dodson, Pascal Douglas, Taylor Rapp, which is massive, Kingsley Jonathan, and Gabe Davis. Those are big outs in Buffalo.
So nice. Nick is just going to say Steelers need some win to make it a running game, and they can win with the RB room. They do have a very good RB room with Warren and Harris, to be fair.
This will be over 300 yards in rushing. This will be a rush game.
They're going to try and keep the ball out.
Jeff says that if you guys are interested in a bet on Paddy Power, 5-1.
Go on.
Josh Allen and Najee Harris to both score a touchdown.
That's a bad shout. I think you're looking at probably Najee Harris and James Cook to go over 100 yards rushing. And I reckon Josh Allen, if they let him loose, could easily go over 100 yards. He is difficult to bring down when he gets ahead and steam up. You don't get my words out.
the weather's going to make a lot of difference in this game tonight. You know, as we've seen, this was moved from yesterday to tonight. And of course, I have a vested interest in this game, as I've previously mentioned. Whoever wins tonight will play the Ravens next week. But there's a caveat to that. If the Steelers win, they play the Ravens at 11:30 on Sunday evening. If the Bills win, the Ravens play the Texans at 8:30 on Saturday night. So yeah, you know, no prizes for guessing who I'm pulling for.
Yeah, definitely. I like Buffalo to win this, though. I think Buffalo will probably might get that monkey off the back.
Surely you want Pittsburgh to win because that's an easier game than Houston.
No, I don't want to be, you know, in work Monday morning like this. I'd rather watch us play a harder team on a Saturday night.
You're being Monday the way like this because you're getting knocked out.
Don't be daft.
Divisional
boys, come on.
Divisional matchup. I wouldn't want it in the playoffs at all.
Yeah, I couldn't put up with them beating us. I couldn't put up with that.
Shall we go over to the patchwork quarterbacks of under Baker and Jalen Hurts, who, unless he's getting pushed, they're not making any yardage up.
Jalen,
the Baker's still in.
Jalen one thumb.
Jalen, my thumb hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen, my thumb hurts.
Now, have you heard? Because I was skimming through some NFL news earlier. I don't know whether or not it's timed. I don't know whether or not it's underhanded or whether or not it's supposed to be very self-destructive. But we've heard news about the fact that regardless, as soon as the Eagles lose, Sirianni is fired. I've also seen today criticizing Jalen Hurts about how his stance is with the team, i.e., him not being very approachable or him being not necessarily the team leader. Thank you. Have you seen that pop up today? I don't know whether or not that is self-sabotage by the press. Yeah, it's basically honest. If I can just catch it up very, very quickly, but go on. Let me just get it up as you guys just continue talking.
I've heard the Nick Sirianni one. I haven't heard the other one.
I've heard the Nick Sirianni one, which is going to be hilarious.
Tampa are going to rip this Eagles secondary apart. This Eagles secondary is like a high school secondary. It is ridiculously poor. Blown coverages, missed assignments, don't know what the hell they're doing. This is such a poor secondary. You're probably seeing two of the worst teams in the playoffs this year tonight in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
Two key injuries for both sides. AJ Brown is not fit to play. He's been a fantastic receiver for the Eagles this season. He's always capable of racking up a score or two. And Baker Mayfield is questionable as well.
No,
so that might make all the difference.
He's playing.
Yeah,
he's playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're expected to play. Phil?
Yeah, so I've just got it up. So, as we've established, the Eagles lost their 5 out of the last 6 games. Again, momentum is not with them. There's questions around the organization. But Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer says that there's a running belief in the Eagles organization that a change in Hurts' demeanor could go a long way with helping the club. If he can open himself up a little more, improve his body language, and take more ownership when things go wrong or when he is at fault for certain plays, it could help the team in times of distress. So essentially, there's inner feelings from an insider in the organization that it's all on me when it goes well. It's all on you when it goes badly from Jalen Hurts. I don't know whether or not he's believing his own hype this year or the seeming bubble around him. Is that he's believing his own hype because of how well he played towards the back end of last year. The Eagles haven't been great. I don't know how you feel about what I've just mentioned, but there's too much bad feeling around Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is a fighting city. I mean, they literally have a statue of Sylvester Stallone as one of their landmarks. They definitely play with a chip on their shoulder. That working man, that blue collar spirit that they pride themselves on. But I generally just can't see them. Even if they beat Tampa, I don't see them going much further than that. And I just feel Tampa are a better team with better momentum. And I just think at this moment in time, there's more goodwill around Baker than there is against Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, but I think either team will lose in Detroit next week.
Oh, 100%. Like I said, if the Eagles win, I don't see them going much further than Detroit.
Yeah.
I don't see Eagles winning tonight. I can see
I
literally
also
them apart.
I think we all put Bucks, didn't we?
We all
did,
put
we
Buffalo.
did.
We all put Buffalo. We all put Tampa for our predictions.
So you know what that means, then, don't you? Get your money on the Steelers and the Bucks, then. Steelers and
yes.
Eagles, sorry.
Okay. Games kick off in about 5 minutes, actually. So we are going to wrap up tonight's show. Enjoy the football tonight. This has been a bloody good weekend of wildcard football. I've really enjoyed it, despite being absolutely shattered. But it's brilliant. It's been really good. Still could be two really good teams tonight. Evening, Shane Harris. He's been Phil Perrins. That's Baby Hope. Until Thursday night, stay safe all.
Come on.